My name is Mark Polton. I'm a buy and hold real estate investor in the greater Charlotte, North Carolina area. Today, I'm going to talk about when the 4-hour work week fails. So I'm a big fan of the book, and one day I will probably get my business to a point where I can do something like that. But right now we're in a asset gathering stage, which means an asset rehabbing stage. And, we just bought another house. We signed all the paperwork last night. Wasn't quite right, but it was good enough to do payouts to the wholesaler. Gave him the checks for to the sellers. Once he gets the rest of the paperwork, and it's pretty incidental, he's authorized to release the checks. So, we're not going through a closing attorney on this one. It's not. I just don't really need to do that. I don't need title insurance and stuff like that. At least not right now. I may choose to get that later, but there's some defects in the title I need to take care of first. Anyhow, to get to the crux of the subject of when the 4-hour work week fails, I'm a big fan of connecting people together and saying, hey, I need you to paint. Hey, you're staying there, or occupying the place. I need you guys to talk, work out when's going to be a good time. And that works pretty well when you're talking about relatively sophisticated people, and oftentimes relatively more mature people than, say, most of the people we rent to. But I have this house that we bought. It was occupied when we bought it. Those people moved out. They were disgusting. It was a filthy, filthy home, falling apart, and it's literally taken a year it took about 9 months to find the time, because I had other homes I had to deal with, to get in there. Once we started working on it, it was just problem after problem after problem. A lot of it's structural. We ended up replacing windows, ended up wrapping the house. The roof had to be replaced, the deck had to be replaced, new siding, and by new I mean used, and stuff like that. But I'm a bit of a sucker for a hard case. A young man who was on probation needed a place to stay. His fiance lived 2 doors down, but he couldn't stay there. He had to be in by 6 p.m. I had this vacant house that I was somewhat working on, and I told him he could stay there. The AC doesn't work. It does now. The heat does work, but it's gas. He doesn't have it turned on. But it did have electricity, which for most of the time, which was a start. And then he just started kind of doing some work around the house. I didn't ask him to, and that was okay. But, he has since kind of moved in. And it's not like a full-blown move-in. He kind of occupies one room in the kitchen area, and he helps from time to time. But, I was having him do the drywall, and there's a lot of drywall work, which I don't want to get into this video, but he's really just not doing it fast enough. So I have another tenant who owes me money. He's a painter and a drywall guy. So I'm having him go there. And they're not, the guy who moved in, his fiance, isn't really getting along well with my painter. They moved animals in, and I'm like, not really a good situation. But, so, they're unable to work it out, and work is not getting done. So I just went over to the painter's house. I had to collect some rent in the neighborhood. And I basically told him, hey, you're good to go. This morning, I was supposed to tell him last night, which I didn't do. But he went there, and the cats were out, and the dog was out, which means that called the lady who was there, and what I really needed him to do was calm down. So basically today I went over to his house. It's in the same neighborhood, and I told him, I'm like, anything happens that will prevent you from doing your work, you call me, I will take care of it. And he's like, well, are you going to be responsible for the cats that are in there and stuff like that? I'm like, yes. You call me, you do the work, you don't stop work, I will handle everything outside of that. And this is an example of when the 4-hour work week fails. So Tim Ferriss, the author of the 4-Hour Work Week, is a big fan of connecting people together giving them the parameters of the relationship, and you guys deal directly together. For example, if he's distributing a product, and a product has to be, there's a refund that has to be done, or a change that has to be done, he'll do one vendor and hook up another vendor and say, hey, listen, if it's less than $200, don't involve me. You guys figure it out and do everything. Anything over $200, call me, tell me what's up, and I'll tell you what to do. And that takes care of about 80% of, the management of his business. He empowers others to work together under strict guidelines in order to be able to eliminate him having to be involved. And I would try to do that. I even provided the couple who's kind of living in the house, I even provided them a SIM card for their cell phone. I need to be able to get in touch with them for various reasons, because I have a house across the street that we just bought that every once in a while I need them to do something or check on it or whatever. And it's very often I'm finding in poor people in poor neighborhoods, they have a tough time keeping their cell phone on. So I had an extra SIM card, I gave it to them. That way, hey, there's no excuse for not being able to, for me to be able to get in touch with you or my painter. But the whole thing is failing, and a lot of it has to do with age. A couple kind of staying in the house are young, I'd say very early 20s. Maturity level, my painter is not a hugely mature guy. He's a good guy, but it is what it is. So now I have to be involved, and I don't mind at this point because everything should have been done. It hasn't been done. Time to try something else. Anyways, what is your experience in enabling people with the 4-hour work week? Enabling others to talk to each other under the parameters that you say. On buy and hold real estate, do you run into similar situations? Do you think I'm just a dumbass for allowing people to stay in the house while we're actively rehabbing it? Probably tend to say yes. Anyways, leave your thoughts and your questions and comments in the comment section below. I wish you success.